Good morning, my beautiful friends. I'm doing this video and then I'm doing another video, but this video is about the Ruby Franke thing. I'm going to link my other video about it below in case you want to know my whole spiel about it. But as you know, probably if you follow this stuff, you know that they've released a whole bunch of documents and things, and I just have to talk about it. Oh, so, and I think to myself, I'm like praying before, and I'm like, why do I care so much about this? And I think it's because there are children involved, and I really do care about the children, all 6 of them, right? I mean, obviously the 2 youngest ones, who, incurred the most pain, but all 6 of them are victims of abuse. And I would say, to some extent, Kevin Franke is a victim of abuse as well. However, I'll get to that. I don't know why this case is so unsettling to me. So let's take the obvious. Jody Hildebrand, she's a narcissist. She is taking 0 responsibility in her phone calls from prison. She says that she's been falsely imprisoned. She's a prophet, and that she's always been meant to come to the prison and I guess start a cult there. I mean, the name of the prison is Purgatory Prison, which is probably the best name of a prison I've ever heard. I don't know what kind of, safeguards they have for people starting up cults within the jail, but they need to keep an eye on her because she thinks that she's not guilty, that she's done nothing wrong. His wounds wouldn't have been that bad had he not moved around. You put duct tape on a child, and it's his fault. Jody Hildebrand. But she's a narcissist, so she's never going to see that she's wrong. She's always going to think that she's the savior and that she's a prophet on the lines of Joseph Smith. Like, she's always going to think that, she's being notoriously abused and that we're hating her, in the name of God. No, we hate you because you're a child abuser. That's why we hate you. And because you won't accept responsibility. Yeah, so I have actually nothing to say about her. She should serve the max. Period. Then you have Ruby Franke, who, in the first, they released everything. They released like her phone calls right when she got there, and then later ones, and in the first few, when she talks to Kevin, who she's not talked to, and like except to have him sign cars over to her. That'd never happen around here. We have a lot of cars. Most of them are in my name, but that'd never happen. I'd never be signing them over. I'd be like, you need to go find them in the bottom of Lake Michigan. If you want them, come get them. Anyway, so here, so she's like, I'm a good girl. I don't do naughty things. Sunshine, you put cayenne pepper in the wounds of your son. You kicked him in the head because he urinated himself because you abused him so bad. You're not a good girl. You are a naughty girl. Like, it was disgusting. The words that she used was like, I don't know if she was trying to, like, if that was some kind of role play they did in bed or whatever, but it was just disturbing. Now, later on, she talks to her sister, and she does seem to have changed. Like, she does seem to be at least coming around to the idea that, perhaps she caused all this. And I don't want to judge her because that's not my job, but I will say, she does seem to be taking more responsibility. But at no time in that conversation does she ask about her children. Does she ask about their welfare? Does she ask? I mean, listen, if I were duped by the Charles Manson of 2024 named Jody Hildebrand, and then I got in a place where, I mean, praise to the lawyer, Lamar, whoever he is. I mean, I think he really is responsible for her turnaround. So now I see the error of my ways. I would not stop sobbing. I would not stop crying for what I had done. And I would be asking every single person I came in contact with, how are my kids? How are my babies? Are their wounds healing? Like, I don't know. Like, nobody talks about these children. Nobody talks about them. So then you've got the husband who's not behind bars, who should be behind. He's number one. He's the biggest coward. Now, I will grant that, I think guys should be guys and, whatever. But you're a Mormon. Like, that's your thing. Like, that's your thing. Like, you believe guys should be guys. Guys are the head of the household. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm a perfect. I couldn't resist Ruby. I listened to everything. Nowhere in his interview, he had 2 interviews. In the first interview, he goes in. He's going there because he won't admit this there, but Ruby calls him to come pick up the kids. So he gets there, and the cops are like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "Well, I was called. They told me to come." He's like, "Who told you to come? We didn't tell you to come." And he's like, "Well, I won't tell you." Well, who do you fuck think? I mean, come on. Like, do you think the cops are stupid? So they're like talking to him, and they finally, this great cop, I don't know who he is, and if he's watching, he was great. He's like, "Listen, buddy, this is the thing. Your son and daughter are in the hospital for child abuse. They're in the hospital. Where's my wife? Where's your wife? Who gives a shit about your wife? Your next question should be, oh my God, are my kids okay? What's the matter with them?" Never asks. Never asks how his kids are. He's like, "I want my family together." You don't get to have your family together when you don't ask how they are. Sorry. Sorry. So they have a second interview with him where he's interviewed by the police. And he seems to like Ruby to be coming around, to realize that he was a victim of abuse. And I actually do believe that he was a victim of abuse. However, have some cojones. I mean, come on now. Like that would be the day you would take my children away from me for a year and not let me into my house that I'm paying for, and this other woman sleeping in bed with your wife. Like, I don't know. Like, I wanted to please Ruby. You're a well-educated guy. Like, I grant that you're, I mean, I don't know. Like, yes, I believe he's abused, and I believe all of them are abused. And I think Ruby was an abuser before Jody Hildebrand, to be honest. I think she's always been a manipulator. I think she's probably a manipulator now, because she knows what she has to say for public opinion to be in her favor. I'm not judging her. I mean, I hope in her, that her heart has changed, but that you didn't ask about your children. That, like, he never asked about his children. Neither one of you deserve to be parents. These 6 kids, I hope that every single penny that comes off the sale of Jody Hildebrand's house goes to all 6 kids, and they just never talk to anybody in their family again, because their whole families, I mean, I know the aunts and uncles, like, they tried to help, and the grandparents tried to help. The oldest sister, she's the one who should get all the money, and then she should provide for all of them, because I think in that family, so far she's the only one I think that has any, like, decent sense as the oldest sister. And maybe the one aunt. I think the one aunt who has her own YouTube channel, I think she's a younger sister to Ruby. I feel like she was pretty articulate and like, "Look, I tried what I could do. There's very little that you can do if the cops won't listen to you. There's very little that you can do. You can't, like, storm in, and then you'll go to prison, but they won't. So I get that. So I mean, I think I don't know why this story bothers me so much. I just think that these innocent 6 kids, even Sherry and Chad, who are the adults, but then the 2 teenagers and the 2 little ones, like, I just think that somebody needs to be a voice for them. And apparently in the Mormon lifestyle, like, children don't matter. They're objects and they're owned. I don't know. I had my children with me always. My children were with me always. I took them with me everywhere. I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I did a lot of things with my kids. That we went on a lot of vacations, and we, like, in her diary, she refused to celebrate the boy's birthday because he peed himself. Maybe because you were kicking him in the head. Just putting it out there. Disgusting. Like, these people are disgusting. And I think what angers me most is that they were in the public eye, and everybody was watching it, and people were reporting it, and nobody was listening. And then all of a sudden this poor little boy has to run away to get help from this sweet couple. That thank God for that sweet couple that helped him. Thank God for them. Anyway, I just wanted to get it off my chest. I mean, Utah has the dumbest way of doing things, but they're at least both in there for 4 years. I think Ruby probably has the ability to be rehabilitated, and probably the father too. But I'm just skeptical of what's show and tell. That you didn't ask about your children, that you weren't sobbing to your sister. If that were me and I called my sister, I'd be in tears, just so sorry for what I had done. Not a shred of sadness, not a shred of remorse. Very businesslike and matter of fact. And really, you did this to your children. These are babies. The fuck is the matter with you? So, sorry. It's just my opinion. You're welcome to have yours. I'm not going to debate you in the comments. So anyway, I'm going to meditate because I don't know why I care so much about this, but I'm gonna go meditate, and then I'm gonna come back and do my rune pull for the day. Or maybe I don't know, I'll do it in some order. First, I'm gonna make a cuppa. All right, wishing you all the best in light and love. Bye-bye.